Okay? Fever?
I'm here.
Well, you are here, but that's not what I asked. I said I'm asking if you are having fever.
But the things are going in. Sleep is happening nicely.
Prasad from travels. Sit. Also, whenever people see Pujya Swamiji, some transformation takes place. And this is part of the adjustment to the transformation. He is coming, so time to book the rooms. Yeah, if one is planning to go.
August? What are the dates?
I don't know, but in the month of August. He'll probably come in the beginning of August.
Beginning of August.
That's generally when he comes. I'm going, I'll be there from the 14th to the 20th, I think. I booked my room. Ramagiri?
In August.
Ramagiri, where is Ramagiri? Is he here? No. Yes, Pujya Swamiji is coming. That's what the news is right now. Om Bhadram Karnebhih Shriniyaam Devaah Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraah Sthirairangaiः Stuštuvagam Sastanubhih Vyashema Devahitai Yadayuh Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravah Swasti nः Pusha Vishwavedaः Swasti nastarkshyo Arishtanemiः Swasti no Brahaspatir Dadhatu Om Shanti 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now, I haven't met for some time, so I think we have to see the Bhashya. Or have you seen the Bhashya of 5?
Yes, we started 2 on 6th on we started seeing the
6th. Oh, we have to see the Bhashya of 6th. 5 we have finished.
Yes.
Yes. 5 we have finished this morning. Yes, yes. Okay. Tasmadrijas samayajumshi diksha
Tasmadrijas samayajumshi diksha
Yajñascha sarve kratavo dakshinaschcha
Yajñascha sarve kratavo dakshinaschcha
Samvatsarascha yajamanascha lokaha
Samvatsarascha yajamanascha lokaha
Somo yatra pavate tatra suryaha
Somo yatra pavate yatra surya.
Oh, yatra surya. Yeah. I automatically, whenever I see yatra, I put a tatra, whether it's there or not. Because that's the sentence construction, usually. Yatra, where, and there. So actually here it is two yatra yatras. Never mind. So, so that is this is, we've seen the things. It's, each of these things till the end of till the last mantra is just talking about how the given, what is given, is not separate from the giver. The giver is not removed from the given. Because if that is the case, then we are no different than all other theologies that profess that God created this earth and then went away for a retreat, a holiday, and is somewhere far away from the universe. And how to reach that? I have to, in the afterlife, I have to wait for afterlife. Afterlife means what? Where was I before this? Afterlife. Before life, afterlife. So if the whole human goal is to go from afterlife to afterlife, what for is this body? Correct? I should have just gone from afterlife to afterlife. But you see, the quest is now. If somebody is thirsty now, you cannot say there will be some nice wine afterlife. Soma juice, Yeah, they are going to make you into juice if you say that. They are going to get angry. If you are hungry, you cannot say, afterlife there is horn of plenty, so many things are there, go eat. Now I want freedom. Now I am sick of samsara. Now I am sick of this body, sick of this mind, sick of everything. Now I want to know how to get out of this situation without getting out of the body. Yeah. That's the whole thing. And so therefore, this elaborate, I introduced this earlier also, this elaborate creation, pedagogy here, in terms of showing what came, how it came. You don't have to worry about whether the horse came first or the yajnas came first and what is the difference between that and this. The point is to understand that all the things needed, the human being is at the center of the universe, because the human being is the only one. The human being means the jiva here. The jiva is the center of the universe here because it's the only uncreated element. It's the only uncreated thing. This is the main problem, this is theological fallacy in thinking that the jivas are also a creation of Bhagavan. Then you become a creature, correct? Yeah. Creature means what? Then you have to keep on, keeping on asking something, and have this separation. Because everything that came from God or Bhagavan in other theologies are separated from Bhagavan. Bhagavan is not one and the same. And so this alienation, this notion of alienation that we call alienation, is a permanent problem. Why? Because it can never be removed. If the jiva is a creature, the alienation can never be removed. Please see that. And so therefore, even though the whole Jagat is for the sake of the jivas and for centered on the jivas, it is not the jivas, everything except the jivas are created. That's what the whole thing, you will see another important thing in the coming verses and the couple of verses that we have already embarked upon. Why? Because if the jiva is to be created, is a creature like every other thing in the universe, then what will happen is that this sense of, and if Bhagavan is separate, this alienation will become real. That's why now we can say we can dismiss this alienation because it is mithya, it's a notion. So, therefore we have to be very careful here in seeing this creation mythology or whatever it is, this cosmology of creation. It is not for the sake of the creation. It is for the sake of the sentient being who is not a product. And if it's not a product, what is it? It is the Purusha. It is that sentience, that awareness, that consciousness alone. So what is a product? Body is a product. Yeah. That's why it has a shelf life, like all other products. It has a expiry date, literally. What is that date of expiration? Expiry date, yeah. So the body comes with an expiry date. When you expire for the last time, that is what is called, that is on that day, that is called expiry date. You have expired. Body has given up and said, okay, I am done. This fellow has abused me completely, done all the things, called it junk and put it in the food, and called it junk food and put it in me. The body is talking now, and the body is saying, I am done. I think I am going to have eternal rest. This is what the body is saying. So the body is a product. Mind, of course, is another product, made of the gross and the subtle elements respectively. Senses are a product. This is what this whole section is determined, or to show, it has a commitment to show that all these products, and the one that is enjoying these products and the one that is using these products as a ayatana means as a means to what? To doing yajnas. We saw that, how the yajnas came and everything. Doing yajnas, doing this, doing that, to the one who says, I am karta, oh no, I am bhokta, the same person. This person, for this person's sake, the whole universe has bloomed into and has been breathed into life with all these things that these jivas need to conduct the life. Okay? Now, out of these jivas, the human being is special. Why? Because they are capable of instruction. What kind of instruction? Instruction of the first portion of the Veda, where what to do, how to sit, how to stand, how to speak the truth, all these things, how to milk your desires without cutting off the air supply of the next person, how to not hurt somebody. All these things are talked about for the only one that is capable of this instruction. So the first portion of the Veda, the Purva Mimamsa, is what is called the place of this, the place for this instruction is the human mind. That is where it has to suppose to reside. If you tell a cow recite Om, it will do it backwards. It will put the M first and then the O. Yeah, that's what it will do. This is what the whole thing is. And it will not recite Om. Please chant Om. And you tell the horse, put the ghee right in the fire. It will get frightened of the fire and go away. It is not interested. No, don't you want a child? Come on. Putra kameshti yajna, put the ghee in the fire. It's not going to understand. So the instruction, regardless of whether it's the first portion of the Veda or the second portion of the Veda, for our purposes we make the distinction, otherwise the Veda is one whole. So the instruction of how to fulfill your desires and the instruction and the subsequent instruction on how to, address the nature of the desirer. First portion is how to fulfill the desires, and when you get sick of trying to fulfill the desires and not succeed at all, 0% success rate, then what happens? You are finally ready to put the toe in the second portion of the Veda, in the waters of the second portion. And what is the instruction here? The instruction is, yo murkha, oh you, deluded being, don't focus on fulfilling the desires. See that the nature of the one who is desiring is already full, is already filled. So there is nothing to full or fill. Okay? So yeah. So there is nothing to do. And so this is for that instruction also you cannot give it to cat and dog. You cannot tell cat, you are Brahman, you are Bhagavan. It says, I already know, why are you wasting your time? I am behaving like Bhagavan already. I think that you, including you, everyone is my slave. So don't worry. I already know. This is what cat will tell. If you tell dog, it will just wag its tail. Yeah, and so therefore, the whole Jagat is centered on the Jiva who is uncreated, please remember. And then the whole, instruction is centered on the human being, Manushya. Why? Because the human being alone, this is a sad commentary, needs instruction. Cow does not need Veda because the cow is not stealing the grass of another cow. The cow is not, beating up another cow. The cow is not starting one religion and excluding everyone else or putting a tax on them, if they don't follow. Neither is the dog, the cat, all the other sentient beings follow the laws of the Purusha except for what? This fellow. Yeah, this fellow means the human being. Because it's almost like the Prakriti, nature gave all her things, gave complete self-awareness when this fellow, body, mind, senses were created. Full, complete free will, uninhibited free will brings on uninhibited judgment, self-judgment, then others' judgment also. So endless free will, comes with a little caveat. What is that? I am free enough to see how awful I am, or to come to the wrong conclusion, how awful I am. I am free enough to make the mistake of criticizing myself and others constantly. This mixed freedom leads this fellow to have, this particular jiva, the human being, to have all kinds of complexes. See, it's all backwards. Because of the complexes, I need some simple instructions. How to do yajna, how to, first follow dharma, all these things. How to have shraddha. And then after that, then it fructifies into the instruction for gaining this knowledge, knowing which I drop all the complexes. So this is the journey that is being talked about here. So all these things are for the entertainment and the instruction of the human being. Entertainment if you know, and instruction if you don't know. Yeah. In fact, Adi Shankara, we will see, makes a small little allusion to this very thing that I said, because he classifies the human beings receiving these instructions into Vidvans, people who know, and Avidvan, people who don't know. Very nicely he puts it. So now we have seen this verse, I think. So Richas Samaha Samaveda and Yajumshi, meaning there are many mantras, that's why it's called Yajumshi, and Diksha. Diksha means, Diksha we talked about. What is Diksha? Maunji Karanam. See, like, they put they introduce the child to the Veda with the first mantra, Gayatri mantra, and then it is a particular sankalpa, ritual, where the child takes a few vows. In Atlanta we are going to have this, so it's going to be fun. So the child takes a few vows, and one of them is, I'll listen to the Veda, I'll follow dharma, I'll speak the truth, I'll listen to my parents, all these things are there. So then, this to qualify for this initiation, a particular, kind of a girdle made out of munja grass, that's why it's called munji, is put from the left shoulder, and so that is, that's called the thread ceremony. That's a particular kind of vow. That's a lifelong vow, and then, then there are certain timed vows or sankalpas. Like you say, I am going to do this particular ritual, you know. And what happens at this particular ritual, like this yajna, fire ritual. So you say that I am going to do that, and to show your commitment, you make a small little ring out of this grass, and it's called pavitra, this a pure purification or this pure vow, and you put it on your ring finger. And you do the whole ritual, and after the ritual is complete and all the dakshina is given, everything is given, then you can take that off because you have finished that. And so that ritual is like tying a little a string around the finger to remind you. This is what you do in the West, you know. People say, I'm going to tie a little ring around tie a little string around the finger, so that, you know, when it is cutting off the blood supply, I remember, oh, this is what I have to buy some milk at the grocery store, whatever it is. So this is more religious and much more, you know, meaningful, because here you are telling yourself, you are making a commitment to yourself that I'm going to undergo this discipline of sitting here for 5 hours, 6 hours, sometimes for 2-3 days, whatever, however long this ritual is. So all these things, you know, dakshina and how to help give the people whatever they have asked, and whoever is helping me with the rituals, all this has come from Bhagavan, from the Purusha alone. And then Kratavaha Yajñāscha. So Yajna means the fire ritual. Kratu also means fire ritual, but there is a difference. I explained that last time. Who remembers? Between Kratu and Yajna, what is the difference? Remember? No. Okay. We'll see again. It will come in the Bhashya. That's why we are doing this twice. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah. Animal.
Exactly. So Kratu means that which has a yupa. What is yupa? An octagonal shaped sacrificial pole, you know, for kamya karma, not for prayer karmas. Kamya karma, that sacrificial pole was there, upon which the life force offering the animal was sacrificed, you know. So that is called Kratu. It is optional, and it is only when you have lot of desires you form Kratu. But the regular everyday Agnihotra etc., the fire ritual does not have that sacrificial pole. That is simply called Yajna. So Yajna, Kratu, everything has come. And then what else has come? You know, we have Samvatsarascha, you know, the time in which all the rituals are done. We'll see this in detail, it will come. And then finally, don't forget Yajamana, the one who is worshipping the Karta. And what is the Karta worshipping for? To go to various lokas. Then the lokas are there. We have seen this. I'm just recapitulating since we didn't meet for some time. Somo yatra pavate yatra suryaha. And then what are these lokas? The lokas are signified by whether they are going upward or downward in terms of comfort level, not location. Yeah. And so one is characterized by the path of the sun, and the other one the moon. You'll see all this, it will come in the Bhashya, even if you have forgotten. So without much ado, let us look at the Bhashya. Tasmat Purushat Richaha Nityakshara Padavasana Gayatriadi Chandaha Vishishtaha Mantraha. So Tasmat Purushat, from this Purushat alone, what has come? Richaha. Richaha means the Rig Veda. And what is the Rig Veda characterized by? Niyata Akshara Pada Avasanaha. Means what? The meters are fixed. Niyata Pada Avasanaha. Pada and Akshara, you cannot just put whatever you want. You cannot put anything anywhere. If you are, if you are talking about the Rig Veda, the order of the words, what is there, they are in a fixed meter. All the Rig Vedic mantras are in a fixed meter. And so Niyata Pada Avasana. Avasana means where is the space coming. Akshara, what words are coming. Pada is the stanzas, are all Niyata, fixed. Chandas, that is what is called, they are called Chandas. So these chandamsi, these chandas are what? The meters. So various presentations of the meter. Like Gayatri has 24 syllables, Jaya has 18 syllables. Anushtup, what is Anushtup? Our Gita meter. 16, syllables. 8. And Trishtup, also in the Gita meter. 12 syllables. Like this, so many things are there. Shardula Vikridita, the baby tiger at play. That is, the Dakshinamurti meter, the Stotra meter. And so like this, so many meters are there, and the Rig Veda is known for fixed meters and fixed spaces and fixed words, the syllables. There is no departure from there. So that is what is called Richaha. Richaha means mantraha. And then Vishishta means that which is characterized by, that which is understood as. And then what is Sama? Pancha bhaktikam cha, sapta bhaktikam cha, stobhadi gita vishishtam. So Sama is characterized by 2-3 things. One is that it is called Pancha Bhaktika. It has 5 portions, or it has 7 portions. And what are these portions? The portions are the various swaras. Prastava, Udgita, like all, so many things are there. So, there are these 5 or 7 swaras which make something music. So actually, Samaveda stops short of being music, because in each chanda it will only use in each in each mantra that is put to music. All the Rig Veda mantras are put to music. It is called Samaveda. That's what it is. This was the women's Veda. Women were keeping this Veda and singing very melodiously at all the rituals. And then since everything became very patriarchal, the men have took over this. So this is historically established. So then what happened? So is that the mantras that are fixed is easy to sing them, and so they were put into tune with these 5 or 7 Pancha Bhaktikam, Sapta Bhaktikam swaras. And then they were sung, but then even though there are, see, for music you need minimum 5 notes. You cannot have, especially whether you see North Indian classical music, South Indian classical music, you have to have minimum 5 notes. Any raga, you can skip ga, and then you can skip ni, going up, and then it becomes a particular kind of a raga. And then, or you can have everything, you can have the middle notes rather than you can have the ornate notes rather than the regular notes. That becomes another raga. But you cannot just have just 4 notes and call it a raga. But Samaveda stops just deliciously short of becoming music. And so therefore it's not really music, but it is musical. So the way the Rig mantras are put into melody, that is using the formulas of the 5 or the 7 kinds of specific ways of rendering it, and that is called Samaveda. Yajumshi Aniyata Akshara Pada Avasanani Vakya Rupani Eva Trividhaha Mantraha. So by contrast, what is Yajurveda? By contrast, the Rig Veda is Niyata Pada Avasana, Akshara Avasana, and Yajurveda is Aniyata Pada Avasana, meaning it is a prosaic Veda. It is totally prose. Don't say what are the cons. Okay, so it is totally prose. It is a prosaic Veda where it is Aniyata. Aniyata means you can have as many syllables, as many things, it doesn't matter. Ishetor, Jeva, like this mantras are there, and all that is, you can have any number of things in the line, in one line. You can have any number of syllables in one line. So That is the hallmark of the Yajurveda. And the Vakya Rupena means they are in the form of sentences alone. Trividhaha. So these are the three forms of mantras. And why do we need these mantras? Because this fellow is an idiot. So without the mantras, she cannot negotiate the life. The mantras are needed to put this fellow on track, because first he does gets into all kinds of scrapes and messes, sits and cries, and then doesn't know how to come out of it. So these mantras help this fellow go on a very nice, without going off of tangent, without getting derailed from dharma, go on a nice little ride called this lifetime. Correct? Yeah, so that's why these mantras are needed. Otherwise, as I said, it's even worse than donkey, because donkey doesn't need Samaveda. Nothing it needs. It is fine. However it is fine. But the human being, even though however they are fine, they don't accept that. Since they don't accept that, all this force feeding of the Vedas has to be done. And so then what? And then mantraha. Diksha. So what is Diksha? Maunjyadi Lakshana. Maunjyadi Lakshana. Munji. That is that thread ceremony. Adipadat are the other things. Kartra Niyama Visheshaha. So meaning the Diksha is the one that endows this fellow with the title. What is the title? Karta. Because the Diksha comes before the actual doing. So before doing the ritual, you have to sit, we do sankalpa. We did that for even this baby's, feeding ceremony. What did we do? We just kept the flowers or akshata, whatever it is, you keep it in the hand, you seal it, and then you say that this is what my intention is for this particular ritual. And when the ritual is a little more complicated, what do you say? I am going to do this particular ritual. I am going to, give food, annadanam, to so many people. I am going to give this much money in charity because I want something in return. And in return, I want my desire to be fulfilled. This is what this is what is called Diksha. So Kartra Lakshana means it is that which crafts this fellow into a karta. Correct? Yeah. What is that? The intention. So the intention comes before doing. Correct? So the Diksha here is a sacrosanct intention. It's a sanctified intention called Diksha. Then Kartra Niyama Visheshaha. Niyama means when you become a karta in relation to a particular ritual, what happens? There are certain niyamas. What is niyama? Rules. Certain rules are there. You cannot just do exactly what you like. When you are being minted as a karta, then you have to follow when you are going to come out, when you are going to wake up, when you are going to go to sleep. When you are going to do this, you cannot do the ritual anytime. As the next one will say, samvatsara. So all this goes into the making of the karta. Further, Yajñāscha sarve agnihotradayah. Yajna means general term for all the 5 rituals, starting with Agnihotra. Then why do we say kratu? Kratavah sayupaha. Yupena saha vartate. Sayupaha. So yupa means that octagonal pole on which the animal was bathed and tied up, poor thing. And so this is, this was only for what? Kamya karma. And so that is called kratu. This is called yajna. And then what? Not much else to say here. Samvatsarascha kalaha karmangaha. Samvatsara, I told you last time, there are 60 in number. 60 years keep rotating. And anyone who lives above 60 knows that this is, has been through the whole cycle once. That is why we celebrate the 60th birthday very nicely. Because you have seen it all. Yeah, you have seen the whole thing. And that is worth celebrating, So 60 is a very important thing. So samvatsaras are 60 in number. They keep repeating. They have names. and sometimes they are misleading. There is there is one Nanda Samvatsara, 2 years ago it went, and apparently that is the time of all kinds of global headaches, etc. So many things happen, like accidents and wars and all these things. So it's very, Nanda means rejoice. So I suppose it ultimately leads to rejoicing when you understand the ephemeral nature of all these things. Perhaps that's what we have to take. And then certain years, you are told, don't do anything, just do routine work for the whole year, because whole year just routine work. Don't start anything, don't get married in that year. Definitely, the marriage will not be nice, and don't start anything that is worth something for you, because this year is not very good, And so like this, of course, sometimes you cannot avoid. What can you do? You have to get a job. You can't say, I'll pay the bills next year. So certain things you cannot avoid, and then you get into scrapes, and then you have more yajnas, etc. So Samvatsara becomes the biggest unit of time in terms of the the human life cycle. And from the Samvatsara we have that splits into two. What is it split into? Uttarayana and Dakshinayana. So that is like six half bright period, like right now we are having, which will end in end of June, and then the dark half called Dakshinayana. And then you split the Samvatsara into two. Then after that you have Masa, correct? Then you split it into 12. You have months. You have 12 months based on the zodiac constellations and their movements. And the 12 months are further split. The months are further split into 15. Dark half of the moon and the bright half of the moon. These are called Paksha. And the Paksha is further split into what? 15 days. And then we have Vasara, 1 week. Alright? So we have a fortnight, then we have week, then we have days. Right? Then the day itself is split into Karana, Yoga, Karana, Tithi. So Tithi is date, and that date also is into Yoga. Yoga means a certain kind of a planetary things, configurations. There is something called Marana Yoga, means whatever you do, it will kill it, Kill here is a very strange verb to use, because I asked one teenager, how did you do in your exam? And that boy said, I killed it, and I got little worried. But that meant he was trying to say he did very well. That is what he was trying to say. But here Marana Yoga means it will literally, all your endeavors will come to a sudden and unexplained end. So therefore, you should always start something in Siddha Yoga, correct? And then there is Karana. The yoga is further split into Karanas. There are 27 in number, all these things are there. And then the Karanas are further split into, then there is Rahu Kala and all these things, Yamaganda, all these things. By the time you do this whole, this is called horary astrology, and by the time you master in horary astrology, you will just be horrified, because other than eating and drinking you cannot do anything, because if the Tithi is okay, Yoga is not okay. If Yoga is okay, Karana is bad. If Karana is not okay, something else is coming. The whole thing is like that. But we have these, small divisions of time, which makes everything very, it's all for what? It's not just to sit and divide time and see, how much can I split it? No. It's so that out of this miserable life, I find at least one little area where I can do some ritual and accidentally get some punya and go about my life. That is the whole idea. That is the whole idea, So therefore, the Samvatsara is for who? For the one who is a Karta, for the one who needs Diksha, for the one who needs Vedas. Do you see how it's all centered on this, big ignorant idiot So that is how the whole thing is. The whole thing is for this person alone. And then what? Samvatsaraha kalaha karmangaha. Adi Shankara reminds us that without this samvatsara and other analyses, there can be no karma. So the karma is done according to certain times. You cannot suddenly do whatever you feel like. This is America. You just, wake up and say, I feel like having dinner for breakfast. People do this. And in fact, the other way around I have heard more. Breakfast I want to have for dinner. And I want to have dinner for breakfast. You can do that. You can get away with anything here in this country. Anything goes, Yeah, it's like eggs. You can have it many different ways. So also you can have the karma many different ways. You can do whatever you want. You can wake up whenever you want or not at all. That's also an option. And you can go to sleep whenever you want or not at all. That's also an option. Correct? But the life of a Vaidika is not like that. Why? Because it provides with the most important discipline needed for the pursuit of this knowledge, for the pursuit of anything. Without discipline, how are you going to pursue? You just can't just say, okay, while are you coming to class? I asked, and somebody said, if I feel like. This is not about feeling. This is not about feeling. It's about actually doing what needs to be done. It's making this person into somebody who is dutiful, meaning who understands that there is a reason why I was born and there are certain roles to play out and I have to do these things. Otherwise, I'm not, of any use. Otherwise, I'll myself start to feel useless if I'm not doing things. And so, therefore, the whole, time is divided in a certain way to keep this person busy enough so that they don't start planning to rob a bank. That's what the whole thing is. The discipline keeps one, focused. And that focus and discipline is what is signified by samvatsara. He said it's an important portion of the karma, karmangaha. So Adi Shankara describes it as karmanga, an important portion of the karma, without which what happens? Nothing happens. This person is sitting, in the doldrums. So therefore you cannot do whatever you want. You cannot say, I'll do darsha ritual on full moon. Darsha here, as we saw, means the new moon ritual. Actually, darsha is to be done during adarsha, when it is not, the moon is not seen. And you cannot say, I'll do Purnamasa on new moon day. It doesn't make sense. And you cannot say, tomorrow's Agnihotra, I'll do tonight itself. People try that. This is not allowed. So therefore, samvatsara becomes the breakdown of the time from 1 year to 1 day to the minuscule portion of the day becomes an important way this person is put on a track of self-discipline. And so therefore, that is an important anga, a portion, a limb of this karma. And then further what? Yajamanascha karta. Who is this Yajamana? Yajati, Yajate. So the one who worships is called Yajamana. He or she is the karta, the doer. And all for the sake of this karta alone is signified. And then what? Lokaha tasya karma phala bhutaha te visheshyante. So now the lokas are nothing but again connected to the Yajamana. Why? The Yajamana is doing all this ritual for what? To gain the lokas, to gain karma phala. And the karma phala usually is in the form of lokas. 7 up, 7 down in terms of comfort. Yeah. 7 up, bhuhu, bhuvaha, suvaha, mahaha, janaha, tapaha, satyam. 7 down, atala, vitala, sutala, rasatala, dharatala, patala, mahatala, patala. But why did you say the 7 down so quickly? Because I just wanted to not give too much emphasis on that. Because nobody wants to go there. And if you read the descriptions of what all happens there, you just don't feel like going there. So you don't want to give it too much air time. And then what? So the lokas are for what? Karma phala. Because the lokas is really the karma phala. The karma phala leads you to various lokas. And if we stopped here, we would be no different from other theologies. But we say that the lokas are for the ignorant, really, not for the vidwan, not for the wise, because the wise know that wherever I go, here I am, I am back, Oh, how long were you gone this time? Don't ask. Not long enough. So that's why every baby cries upon being born. Oh no, not again. Correct? Yeah, not again. It's always a deja vu. Yeah. So, these lokas are your gift of the self-discipline and the gift of doing all the diksha, the karma, everything according to time. You get the little present loka wrapped in some nice, wondrous things. And then what? Karma phala bhutaha te visheshyante. And so visheshyante means they stand out. How do they stand out? Somo yatra yeshu lokeshu pavate punati lokaha lokan yatra yeshu suryah tapati chate dakshinayana uttarayana margadvaya gamyaha vidvat avidvat kartra phala bhutaha. Very clearly stated. So it says that karma phalas, they stand out as the karma phala. And how do they stand out as the karma phala? They stand out as the karma phala because they stand out as two possible, not the lokas themselves, but the what is that called? The paths. The paths taken by the disembodied jivas who are carrying with them a big baggage of what? Vasanas, karma phalas, desires, all these things. Various, anger, all these things, whatever they are carrying, the karmic impressions is one big suitcase. Another big suitcase is the karma phala. Maybe two, papa suitcase, punya suitcase. Where this overburdened jiva needs a way, two paths are given for the person to go to these lokas, two roads, two apertures for the jivas to take. And one is protected by the moon, pavate, that which is protected by, purified by the moon. Soma means moon. So this is called the moon is a reflective being itself. It does not have any source of light. It just reflects the light of the sun, correct? So this is Soma. So since it reflects the light of the sun, it's not very powerful. And this is the path chosen by, not chosen, it's not a choice really. This is the carpet laid out to who? Avidvans. Yeah. Avidvan means what? Yes. In plain terms, ignorant, not a vidwan, correct. So, ignorant. Ignorant of what? Oneself. So, the ignorant people, this is the belief that the people who are not well versed in what? In the self-knowledge, who have not assimilated this knowledge, go through this moon path. It's a belief. The jivas, the unburdened, they want to unburden this big luggage they are carrying, and so they quickly go through this. What is also called dhumra marga, the smoky path, because you cannot see ahead. It's all dark, and that's why you get into various undesirable yonis, birth canals, because it's all hazy. Why? It's a nice thing because it's almost like some tear gas or something has been made purposely smoky so that you don't see what you're getting into, but these karmas have to fructify. So in other words, the person who comes back is the one who has not gained the self-knowledge. One more chance has been given. If they are repeatedly born as human beings, many chances are being given. So if you come back, that's why every birthday we say many happy returns. That's all it is. Because many times you have come back. you know. That's all it is. So therefore, when you come back, you come back, if you come back, that is, how do I know that I have gone through this Soma Marga, this hazy Marga? Because you are here. That's why. Because one is here, one knows that, okay, I must have gone through that. And then, by contrast, then there is what is called the bright path, or the path protected by the sun, blessed by the sun. And that is what, that path is leading the Vidwan to a path of no return. It's a one way. The Soma Marga is two arrows going both ways, going this way and coming back also. But Archira Marga, Archish means the bright path, is what? It is only one way. The arrow goes only one way. Meaning, taking this path, you don't want to come back. You cannot come back. There is no other coming back. It's a final destination. But then how to get there? Get self-knowledge. Meaning you were already liberated here, and then you are also liberated from all this big bundle of what? Ragadveshas, big bundle of desires, big bundle of fears and sorrow and all kinds of complexes. You have already shed the burden here. So that's why you don't even have a carry-on. Yeah. Forget checked luggage, you don't even have a carry-on. So the flight, this flight, the sun-protected flight, doesn't even allow carry-ons like the airlines of the future. Yeah. You just go by yourself. Why? Because all the vasanas have dropped. You have dropped the body, and you have already, while you were alive, because of self-knowledge, you dropped the burdens of the mind. All the anxieties, worries, what will happen after I die, will the children take care of my property, who cares? But the person cares. All the anxieties, will they get along with one another, will they do puja, will they do karma, all these things which we cannot control, all this is left behind because the person is not interested. And then the person has also overcome ragadveshas through self-mastery, through through self-knowledge. And the person has also suspended all the desires, is not caring to fulfill the desires. They may be there, but they are just more like glories. They are not pushing on the person's buttons to get fulfilled. Ringing the doorbell, come on, I am still here, open the door, open the door. The person is not even hearing the knocking of the desire in the head. So therefore, there is nothing to, the subtle body is unburdened by all these things. The subtle body therefore is not cloyed, or it's not, all these desires and ragadveshas and the frustration of not fulfilling the desires is not clinging to the subtle body. So the subtle body is free to join the subtle elements. Otherwise, the force of the ragadveshas are like a lead balloon. The subtle body is so light, it should just go into the ether. No, because it hangs around, it is forcibly brought down. Otherwise, the subtle body is like helium. It should just go, evaporate. But it cannot, because the force of the desires and the anger and fear and all the smallness and the complexes carried on from life to life bring this dead weight down. This is what the whole thing is. So slowly it plods along the moon path only to be reincarnated appropriately again. And then we take this a step further, this moon path, sun path, and we say that the sun path is governed by from January 14th to June or end of May, end of June sometime. This is what is called Uttarayana. And therefore everybody scrambles to die at that time. Everybody in India, the Hindu belief is that I want to die this time. So even if I don't have self-knowledge, maybe the time will help because the sun is bright. Maybe I will catch the rays and go. That's what we saw in the first Mundaka, that the jivas catch the rays and then go, and then all the punya, the punya little celestials who are in charge of the punya put the welcome mat. Ehi ehi iti tam ahuyah suvarchasaha suryasya rashmibhihi yajamanah vahanti. So they carry this fellow with the sunbeams. So the karta catches hold of the sunbeams and then smilingly goes into this den for punya fulfillment and then comes back again, correct? So that is, that is just a imagination, a belief. And so the belief further here is that if one dies in Uttarayana, maybe one will not come back. And if it dies in Dakshinayana, definitely you will come back. So like this, these lokas and then the times are all there for who? For this fellow who is refusing to see that the only thing to know is the truth of oneself. So therefore he says gamyaha. So these are gamyaha means gamana yogyaha. These are the two paths worthy of following. And then who are they for? He quietly specifies vidvat avidvat kartra phala bhutaha. So for the vidwan, the vidwan is also doing karma, correct? Yeah, but the vidwan's karma and the karma phala, we say, goes to the students. So when the vidwan does punya, it goes to the disciples. What if the vidwan does papa? Steps, not knowingly of course, steps on a little creepy crawly in the rainy season, something, that also goes to the disciples. Which disciples? The disciples that bad mouth the vidwan. Yeah, that is what happens. So these are the two kinds of divisions, and the divisions are based on vidwan and avidwan. So the vidwan will if even the vidwan has some punya left, they will just experience that punya in some loka perhaps and then not come back. That is there. Or if the vidwan is has got, what is it called, there is something called videha mukti, meaning the person has understood but then some little residue is there. So then they experience that, go to Brahmaloka, get some final instruction, study the Mundakopanishad one more time and then they are free. This is called krama mukti. So that is one possibility. The other possibility is avidwan. What does the avidwan do? See some dances and then many happy returns. This is all it is. And so that is what the whole thing is. So quietly he adds vidvat avidvat kartra lakshana kartra phala bhutaha. These margaha. So these roads are based on one's knowledge or not. So then what else came? Let us see. Tasmacha deva bahudha samprasutaha sadhya manushyav pashavo vayamsi प्राणापानौ व्रीहि यवौ तपश्च श्रद्धा सत्यं ब्रह्मचर्यं विधिश्च. So tasmat cha means and further, tasmat cha and further, devaha bahudha samprasutaha, bahudha devaha samprasuta. So now we have the karta, correct? Then we have karma phala. Now what is the intermediate between karta and karma phala? We need people, celestial blessing beings who are actually in charge of dispensing the karma phala, correct? Like when you press the lotion, one little squirt comes out, you can put it on the dry skin, correct? Yeah. So this parched jiva, parched for some, is thirsty for some desire, gets a little squirt from these celestials based on their own. That's why it's a very measured dose, correct? Yeah, some people get slathered in the punya and some people get a tiny little squirt based on how much they have done to earn this punya. So that is the missing link here. Missing link between karma phala and then karma is these devatas who are taking care of all the things that should go to certain people. So tasmat purushat eva. So tasmat param purushat, from this only Purusha, and from this Brahman came what? Devaha, bahudhaha, many. Because if one is busy, you can go to the other one. This is what Pujya Swamiji said when he was accosted, when he was very young. He was travelling from, I think from Chennai to Delhi, and then it was a long journey, and he was accosted by some missionaries in the compartment. And in the train compartment, and they started to make fun of him, and they said, your beliefs, your gods, because you will say Rama, and then then what will happen? Rama won't come, because last time you called Krishna and this time you call Rama, and then you say Shiva Shiva, and then Vishnu will say, okay, Shiva is taking care and Shiva also won't come, and all of you are just a confused lot of ignoramuses. This is what the missionaries told him. And he said, no, in fact, we have lot of advantages to having these devatas. And he recounted one incident, one anecdote, made up anecdote. He said, okay, your Jesus is so busy, he said, because let us just sort of say that at 4 o'clock Paris time, a woman is in labor and she's crying out, Jesus, let this baby be born nicely. And then same time, whatever that time is, in some other place, in China, a man is being, robbed and he is crying, Jesus. And then the same time, whatever that time might be, in some country in Africa, something is happening like this. And then in India also something is happening around the same time. Somebody is being robbed, somebody is being murdered, somebody is giving birth, somebody is, getting sick. And so, where will Jesus go? How many places will he go? Now the missionaries were confused, And and he said, for us, no problem. If Rama can't go, he says, Krishna, you go. Shiva, you go. And, and so many stories are there in our Puranas, he said, where, Shiva has to come to Vishnu's aid and Vishnu goes many times to Shiva's aid. So, therefore, our religion is just fine for us. That is what he said. So, like this, there are so many, devatas, bahudhaha, and the cosmology of creation includes the celestial beings. So how did they get there? It is not like the stars, plucking the stars from the celestial means what, it's not like, how did they get there? How? How does one become a celestial? Punya Vishesha. A body that has done too much punya, like who? Lord Yama. We see he is regretting being a celestial because he is just the clearing house of souls. That's all it is. He has a big sieve, puts all the souls, and whatever remains on top, he has to take it somewhere else. Whatever goes down, goes down. This is what his job is. And so he is sick of his job. Why? Because he could have had this knowledge, but he instead asked for how to be a celestial series of rituals, and he kept doing them, and he regrets that in the Kathopanishad. Janami aham shevadhihi anityam. And then he says, I knew this was anitya. And then tarhi, even though I knew this, Maya chitaha nachiketa agni. So this agni, this fire ritual that is now named after you, O Nachiketa, was done by me repeatedly. And now I am in the envious position of what? Being a quote unquote Nitya who is in charge of Anitya. Bhagavan has a sense of humor. So this is how one becomes a celestial. Too much punya. And then these jivas with a lot of punya are given certain jobs of making sure the various orders of Ishvara function smoothly. And among these orders is the order of karma. So let it all function smoothly like this. These tasmad devaha bahudhaha samprasutaha. Samprasutaha means out of their punya they were born. Not the jivas were born. What was born? The body mind complex of the devas. Okay? And then what are they? Sadhyaha. Sadhya means there are certain devas called sadhyas. They are a name for certain special devas. Wish fulfilling devas called sadhyas. Then our fellows, manushya, the mortals. And then what? Pashavaha, animals. Everything is coming, fadar, everything is coming. Animals. And then what? Animals means four-footed. And then vayamsi, birds. Vayas, vayasi, vayamsi, birds. Pakshinaha. And so all of them came. And then what else came? Prana, Pana. Of course, if all these people come, then they have to respire, correct? Yeah, Prana and Apana. So you take in and you eliminate. That should be there. Otherwise, if you keep taking in, you will burst, correct? Yeah. So that's one reason you cannot hold the breath, So you and also you cannot keep eating. So, that's the whole thing. So, this whole balance of intake and output, all this also came. Prana, Panav. And then, what is to be taken in? Vrihi, Yava barley, Vrihi, rice, grains, etc. All the corn. Vrihi, I think, means corn. Yeah, so Yava barley, corn and barley and all these things have come. Which are also what? Which are first to be sacrificed, which are first to be offered to the Bhagavan and then taken in. So all this came. And then Vrihi above, and then Tapascha. Tapas here means discipline, not small Spanish snacks. That is not what we are talking about. And Vrihi is, all these grains. Tapaha means religious austerities, such as what? What is an example? Yeah, very good. Fasting. What else is an example of tapas? Yeah, sure. That also. Yes, japa. Don't forget japa. Japa is tapas. Meditation. Fasting and not eating certain things. All these, is called tapas. So this tapas is, a way to calm the mind before a ritual, or in its own right, it gives certain karma phalas. It's a religious, spiritual discipline. So vrihi above, tapascha, and then what else? Shraddha. Yes, because otherwise who will do tapas? Without Shraddha, can you do tapas? No. You cannot do tapas, you cannot do anything, you cannot follow the Veda, you cannot do anything at all. So the Shraddha means that it is Astikya Buddhi. Astikya Buddhi doesn't mean I believe in God. Astika, Nastika doesn't mean I believe in God or not believe in God, because God is not a matter for belief in our tradition. So therefore, Astikya Buddhi means what? You have Shraddha, a reverence, pending understanding in the Veda as something given that is helpful to me. Vedeshu astikya buddhi. Astikya means asti, something is there. Asti, there is something that the Vedas are revealing, this Bhagavan, which I will understand, and for this sake I have to, because I have to know, I have to have a certain devotional attitude that it is there for my own good. So Shraddha is the opposite of suspicion. Sometimes, people are doubting Thomases all the time. Why? you should tell them anything. Why you have to do this? Why? Why? And it's not like they want to know the meaning. Even if you tell them the meaning, they'll keep asking why. And then after that, they'll dismiss it. No, I don't think so. Then why did you waste my time? Why did you keep asking why? But that's because there is a certain suspicion. And this suspicion is part of the, unconscious. The suspicion comes from having one's trust broken many a time by the caregivers, and so there is a lot of suspicion. And this suspicion carries one into adulthood under the coping mechanism, and we ourselves teach the children. We have to. We'll say, don't say hello to strangers. We have to, because the world is like that nowadays. Don't take anything to eat when somebody gives. Don't get into somebody's car. We have to tell all these children. So part of it is the socialization, and part of it is one's own unconscious makes one very suspicious. And already the latent, dormant insecurity based on self-ignorance, further puts ghee into this fire of suspicion and makes it go into a big conflagration. And this suspicion has to be suspended. That suspicion, of suspecting everybody and anybody of something being inimical to me, that is what one has grown up as. So always one is doubting, always one wants more explanation, and even after getting the explanation, one is not satisfied. These are the stumbling blocks to not gaining this knowledge. Forget knowledge, to not even gaining dharma and other purusharthas, artha, kama, even to gain anything. You need to have shraddha in the Veda, you need to have shraddha in something. And here, this shraddha also, the ability to have shraddha, first the suspicion is there, but then the ability to have dispose of this suspicion, to suspend this, and to have shraddha also came from what? Purusha alone. And then what? What else came? Satyam, the ability to speak the truth, the ability to follow dharma, and brahmacharyam. So without shraddha, there cannot be satyam. And satyam, we'll see that all later, it will come in the bhashya. So satyam means the ability to speak the truth and speak it in a way that is not hurtful. Both those things are important. So brahmacharyam is the lifestyle for gaining this knowledge. Brahmani charati iti brahmacharin. Brahmani charitum sheelam asya asti iti brahmacharin. Mini, so the person who is capable of moving in or being totally connected to Brahman all the time. So totally committed to Brahman. And vidhi means how to get self-knowledge. That is one vidhi. What is that? Gurumeva abhigachet samit panihi. Please go to the Guru, that is a vidhi. And then what? Then there is another vidhi in terms of how to get a child. That is also, there are vidhis involved. Give dana, do dharma, do this, do that, do these yajnas, all these things are there. So all the know-hows, iti kartavyata it is called, how to do what is to be done, also came from this alone. What is this? Purusha. Tasmat, from that Purusha alone, all this has come. Now we'll take a small break and then read the bhashya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Okay, it's 5-10 minutes.